Hey guys, I think I'm in love. So I had an early morning MRI today. It was at 5:30 a.m. Got there shortly before 5. So I check in. I am sitting at the chair waiting, and eventually I get called in. So the girl starts talking to me. So I had an MRI a few days ago on my elbows, and I also had an MRI a couple months ago. And so I'm not new to this whole thing, but she's talking to me and she's asking me various questions, precautionary questions. If you had metal in your body before, if you worked with metal, if you have implants, all that sort of stuff. And so we get through all that, and then she says for me to get undressed and to put on the gown. So I just have my boxers on, and then I have the gown on, and I have my socks on, and so. Then I'm sitting there, and then she tells me to go into the next room. So we're going towards the MRI machine, and so we're in the next room. And then this other girl comes up, and she's got a clipboard. She looks like a dark-haired French girl, and she's my height. She looks sort of nerdy with the big glasses on. She was so hot. She was absolutely super hot. And I noticed she did have a wedding ring on immediately as well, because she had a clipboard and her hand was like clasping the clipboard. Clipboard? Did I say that properly? I'm not sure. And so as soon as I saw her, I'm like thinking to myself, is this the person who's giving me the MRI? And I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing if that's true. And so she starts talking to me. She's asking me questions again, more questions, the precautionary questions, all that sort of stuff. And so we get through that, and then she brings me into the MRI room. And so yeah, it turns out she is the one who's administering the MRI. So that's pretty cool. And so I was happy about that, obviously. And then, so I get on the bed to go into the cylinder, the MRI machine. And so she tells me to lie on my back. And so I was already caught off guard again, because the MRI I had a couple days ago, it was for my elbows, and it was done by an old Asian guy. And actually the MRI I had a couple months ago was done by this white gay guy. And all of a sudden I have this hot French girl doing it. So obviously this is the Goldilocks situation. This is the best one. And the third time. And so, but the reason I was caught off guard was because she tells me to lie on my back. So a few days ago, I had my elbows done, and the Asian guy, he told me to lie on my side, and he wanted me to put my arm like up here, and then I would lie down on my arm like this, and I'm on my side. So that was really uncomfortable, actually. I remember after 5 minutes of that, my shoulder muscle started twitching, and by the end of it, it was just twitching uncontrollably. So that was kind of annoying. So I was caught off guard by the fact that all I had to do was lie on my back for this MRI on my forearms, the one that the French girl was doing. So I was really happy about that, because all I had to do was lie on my back. And so that sounded very easy. And so I don't know how to explain this, but what they have to do, they put a camera on you. And so it's hard to describe the camera because it doesn't seem like a camera, but it's like this pad, this 2 foot by 2 foot pad. And it's, I don't know how to describe it, but they have to put that on you. They have to strap it on you, strap it around you, strap you in. And so I have my arms to my side. I'm lying down, I have my arms at my side. And so she has to do one arm at a time. So she starts with my right arm. And so she puts the camera on my body so that it's over top of my arm, and it's also on my body at the same time, because it's quite a big piece of padding or whatever. It's quite a big thing. And then she goes to strap it in. And so she has to lean over my body in order to finish the strapping in of the camera. And so she does that. So there are two straps. There's one, because, so where my arms are, my forearms, they're basically at my stomach. And so that's where the center of the camera is. And so one of the straps is basically at my chest. The other strap is at my thigh. sort of where my dick is. Just saying. Spoiler alert. And so as she's strapping me in, she has to lean over my body. And so her torso's touching mine and my arm is exposed and it's touching. She had this like sweater, this type of sweater on. I've seen it on other girls before, but it's very soft and it was quite pleasing to feel against my skin. And so she's leaning over, she is strapping me in. And so the MRI begins, she leaves, she starts doing the MRI, but then she has to keep restarting it. So she keeps coming in after a couple minutes and she tells me she has to readjust how I'm lying and she has to readjust the camera until after the third time, literally the third time, she ended up getting a new camera and bringing it in and strapping me in again, which was pretty cool because I got to see her again. However, I was getting worried because I was thinking to myself, wait a minute, is this not going to work? Because I had to wait 3 months for this to happen. So do I have to wait another 3 months for this? But thankfully, no. Once they put on the new camera, it ended up working fine. And so we get through my right arm. All right, all's good. All's well. Now we go to my left arm. Okay. And here's where the fun begins. So she comes back in, she takes me, she presses the button, I come out of the cylinder, I'm still lying down on the bed. She unstraps me, so she has to lean over my body again, which is nice. And then she has to readjust the camera, she has to move it to the left side of my body. And so, by the way, meanwhile, I just have one of those super thin hospital gowns on and my underwear, that's it. And so, she's leaning over my body, and so it's quite nice. And so, because of the problem with the first camera, I feel like she was really making sure that there was going to be no problem with this one, with the left side of my body. And so she was like, she was trying to strap the camera in on my left side, I don't know what the word is, but she was really trying her darndest. And so she wanted it to be perfect. She didn't want there to be any problems. Now, like I said, my arms are at the side of my body. And so my forearms are lined up with my stomach. And so the camera goes down to like over my dick. It goes down to like my thigh and then up to my chest. And so part of the camera, like the corner of the camera, it's literally on my dick. And so she's like moving the camera forcefully and it's rubbing my dick. And she's like really going at it too, because she doesn't want there to be a problem. And I'm like and it was really, really nice because I'm like being dry humped right now. And I literally started to become aroused. Now, I did not want to do that. Obviously, that would be rude and inappropriate. But, I have this hot French girl leaning over my body, dry humping me with a friggin' camera on my on my dick that's only covered by a tiny, tiny piece of fabric. And I couldn't stop. I mean, I couldn't control it. And so I was becoming aroused. Now, I didn't have a full-on boner, but it was growing. There was blood circulating. And if, the guys know what I'm talking about. It was chubbing up. So, but one good thing, it was obscured by the camera because it was underneath the camera. And so it wasn't popping out in her face or anything like that. It was held nicely by the camera, hidden, if you will, by the camera. And so, and so she was really going at it for quite a while and leaning over my body. And then she finally got that one on and she strapped me on for the strap on my thigh. And I'm just feeling amazing right now. And then she does my chest. She straps me in with my chest and then she leaves and I go into the MRI machine. And so, she leaves and I'm like quite aroused. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, so now I've got to focus on becoming unaroused because when when the scan's over and she comes back, she's going to take the camera off, and I don't want my dick popping up into her face and, traumatizing her. And so, you get a big boner in your face. Not that it would be a big boner. That's a small penis joke. Just kidding. I've got a huge penis. And so that's what I'm focusing on. I'm focusing on becoming unaroused so that I don't, embarrass her and embarrass myself. She probably wouldn't be embarrassed. I don't know. It's probably happened to her before, but I would be embarrassed. And so, eventually the scan's over and I become unaroused. And so crisis averted. And it wasn't, even if I was still aroused, when she came back in, there was a guy with her. So I would have gone soft immediately anyways. So it wasn't a big deal anyway. And then I get taken out of the machine. She leads me back to my locker where my clothes are. Now, me being a stupid idiot, I didn't remember what locker the first girl put my clothes in. And so she had to, the technologist had to keep opening. She opened like 3 lockers, and on the third one, that's where my clothes were. Once again, the rule of 3. So, and then, and so I actually said 3rd time's a charm. I grabbed my clothes and I went to thank her, but she had left. And so I didn't get a chance to thank her. So that's unfortunate. But, that's the most action I've had in years. I think that's going to hold me over for probably like a decade or more. I've been thinking about it ever since. And so, I actually have 2 more MRIs. 2 more MRIs this week, and they're after midnight. So they're the late shift ones. I don't know if she's going to be working. Maybe she's going to be working there and I get to see her again. But if that's the case, maybe I should ask her if she's willing to leave her husband and we could go away together. That'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? And then I get pepper sprayed.